Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone's tongue muscles and jaws have recovered from the last session. Alhamdulillah, that was very good. In this session, I'll ask you to do the same, to attempt the reading of the words with me. And inshallah, that will be the most beneficial part of the class. Is the reading attempts in exercising your tongue to pronounce the letters, inshallah. So with that, we start. Today, we'll be covering 3 letters. Inshallah, it should be a very easy class after last week's a bit of an intense session. Today's session will be a bit lighter, but nevertheless important. The first letter we're going to speak about is this one over here. And if you look at the shape, you'll see it kind of looks like the ba, ta, and tha. It has the boat shape. However, the main feature of this letter is the circle and the dot. Okay. The second letter, it looks very similar to the first letter over here, which is the fa. The second letter looks very similar, except that it has 2 dots, and it has, instead of like a boat shape, it has more of a bigger jaw. The third letter we'll speak about is this one over here. This one is a weird looking shape, and we're going to speak about some detail about the shape of this letter Qaaf. Now, they appear in the alphabet, they appear in this order as you see them here, the fa, Qaaf, and then the Qaaf. Now, I have wondered before why they appear together in a group, because the first 2 letters, they look very similar in shape. However, in terms of pronunciation, they have nothing in common. The funny thing is that the letter in the middle and the letter on the left, however, they have nothing in common in terms of shape. However, their pronunciation is very close. So the letter in the middle, the Qaaf, has a relationship with the fa and the Qaaf in a very special way. So it looks like the fa, but it sounds like the Qaaf, and that's why they are grouped in this way. So let's start with the easy one, with the fa. Okay. Let's look at the shape. Fairly simple. So the letter fa in a word over here, you'll see here it is in the middle of the word. And as you can see, it has a bit of a neck, right? And when it's in isolation, you don't generally see the neck. And like I said, I'll repeat, and this is very important generally, that, like I said, remember, don't look at every detail, because the shapes of the letters will change depending on the font and depending on other things as well, depending on which letters it's joined to, but the basic shape, the fundamental shape won't change. So in this case, it's the circle with the dot. Okay. And as you can see there, the tail was cut off and a connector was joined to the left. And here we go, the same letter in the middle of a word, and you can see it's joined to the left and it's also joined to the right. Okay, the basic shape is still there. Okay, at the end of a word, you'll see it maintains its full shape. And in this case, it's not joined to the letter before, because the letter before it is a semi-cursive letter. Good. So far, so good. So let's start with the letter fa in terms of its sound. Firstly, it's called fa. Very simple. Fa. And as you can see, we said that the sound of the letter is found in the first part of its name. Fa. So it has the f sound. Okay. So let's do some words. So here's the first word, muffin. We can hear the f in muffin. That is the fa sound. Can we get some words? Let's do our 10 words. So let's go. I'm looking at the chat right now. Fan, excellent. Fun, right? Coffin, nice. Fair, let's see with a F at the end. See, you have an F sound at the end. Soft, effort. See the font. Okay. Did I have the foolish? Yes. Cuff, yes. Bluff, good. If, yes. Enough. Yes. So far, so good. Let's get two more. Birth. Yes. One more. Left. Left. Perfect. Tough. Good. That's all the sound. All of that is perfect and 100% the sound of the letter fa. Now let's apply the concepts that we learned to the letter fa. Okay. First thing, we've done the fatha, the harakat, which is the fatha, kasra, and dhamma. Okay. Fa with the fatha is going to be fa. Fa. In a word, here we go. Now you'll see, here we have a sukun. So the sukun will be read with the letter before it as one unit. And another interesting thing about this letter with the sukun over here is that, as you can see, it's highlighted in light blue. It has a jerk sound, right? So that's going to be j plus the fa, j, like jam, j, fajr, fajr. So you can repeat after me, fajr, ri, fajri. That's like fajr salah. So even when we say the word fajr, you'll see that you do make the jerk sound. Fajr, right? So you don't say fajr, you say fajr. And that's exactly that word. Okay. Fi. Fa with a kasra. Fi. Let's see in a word. Ta. Fi. So that's tafi. Kha. Right? We have the kha with the ah sound. Tafi. Kha. Tafi kha. Okay. Fa with the dhamma is going to be fu. Fu. Let's see in a word. Here we go. Fu. Ri. So far we got furi. And then we have the word we done, the letter we done last time, da. Right? So remember the spoon-shaped tongue, the front part of the tongue shape of a spoon to get the da sound. Furi, da. Furi, da. Excellent. Okay. Let's do the fa with the mad. The first one is with the alif mad, the a sound. We have fa, fa. In a word, here we go. Fa, za, fa, za. Okay, with the ya mad, fi, fi. In a word, here we have a sukoon, so we read them as one unit. Tu plus the kh, tukh, 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 fi, tukh, fi. Okay. With the waw mad, fu, fu. In a word, ta, fu, tafu, and then zu, tafuzu. Perfect. The sukoon, right? The most important concept. Here we go. Tuf. The tu plus the f, and quickly tuf. So not tuf, tuf as one syllable. Tuf. Okay. In a word, here we go. We have a sukoon. So together, tuf. And then we have another sukoon with the letter dal, which is highlighted here in light blue. And we know that letter dal also have a jerk sound when it has a sukoon. So it's going to be the, like dusk, the, right? So that's going to be the plus the si before it, si, the, cedar as one unit, cedar. So tuf, cedar. Beautiful. Here we go. Kho plus the f, khof, khof, khof. In a word, ta, khof, ta, khof, ta, khof. Word means to be afraid. Here we go. Haf, a ha, haf, haf. In a word, haf. Saw is the letter we done last week. Saw, don't forget the spoon-shaped or bowl-shaped tongue. Haf, saw, haf, saw. Perfect. letter fa. If anyone have a problem with the letter fa, can let me know. Now here we're going on to the letter Kaaf. The letter Kaaf is a special letter. However, we are going to dissect this letter in a way that there's no confusion left out about this letter. The confusion that's around the letter Kaaf, in terms of its sound, it's very easy. It's just like the letter K in English. However, it's the shape that becomes confusing because this letter has two shapes, right? One letter, one sound, but there are two shapes that represent this letter. Let's have a look. So the letter Kaaf, the first shape is its original shape, and that's this one over here. So let's see in a word. Here you can see the letter Kaaf, right? It's at the end of a word and is joined to the letter before it. No problems here. This is how it looks at the end of a word. So this letter always at the end of a word, as long as there's no letter joined after it, like there's no letter appearing after this letter, it's going to look like this. However, as soon as it's found in the middle of a word where there's a letter joined coming after it, right, it's going to look like this. Now, I want you to know what happened over here. If you look inside the letter Kaaf here, this thing over here, so they sounded like a Z, but it's the other way around. It kind of jumped out and came out on its own. And so it kind of looked like that shape over there. So that's the letter Kaaf, like you see here in the beginning of a word. And you see that it's joined to the left. And here we go again in the middle of a word and it's joined on both sides. So that's the letter Kaaf. It has two shapes. And this is just something you just have to get used to. And don't be alarmed. Just know that the letter Kaaf has two shapes. And what you need to remember is that that is how they look. So the Kaaf has two shapes. Okay. Let's go about the sound. So the Kaaf, as we can hear from the name, Kaaf, has the K sound. Same like the K in English. Like work, right? Work, work. And one thing about Arabic is, or about the Arabic Kaaf, if I can add something, is that if you listen to the end, how I stop on the K sound, work. Can you hear that sound, that release of A? That is special and unique. That's actually a tajweed addition to the letter Kaaf. That sound have to be there, right? So if you say work, work, and you stop on the Kaaf, and you don't produce that sound work, right? The letter is incomplete. Okay, work. And so that's the letter Kaaf. Can I get some words? Let's do the 10 words for the letter Kaaf. So I'm going to answer that question. Jerk, right? There's the Kaaf. Dark, kick, kite. So I want to get more words with the K sound at the end. Kite, kettle, nice. Talk, kids, yes. Crow, yes, you can say it's the same sound as C as well. Talk, we had talk, I think we had talk already. Back, yes. Walk, and you will see I'm always adding the sound when it has a sukoon, right? Rack, stalk, lock, rock, perfect, perfect. Okay, speak, hawk, bark, perfect, right? So remember the thing is that when it has a sukoon, it's going to have that sound. Okay. Wadi fatha, very simple. Ka, ka, ka. In a word, sha, ka. So far it's shaka, ra, shakara, shakara, right? The ra with the R sound. Perfect. That means to thank. Okay. Ka for the kasra, ki, ki, ki. Okay, here we go. Hu, bu, hubu, ki, hubu, ki. Okay. Ka for the dhamma is going to be ku, ku. T in a word, ku, the. So far we have kudi, and then we have a sukun at the end. So we read them as one unit, bat, and quickly. So not bat, bat. So kudi bat, and you hear the ta with the sukun also has that t sound at the end. So if I say rock, see the ka at the end, and the ta, kudi bat, it's the same quality that these two letters share when they have a sukun. It's a bit of a release of air. Okay. Here we go. Ka for the mad. Ka. And you'll see the shape over here because it's in the beginning of a word. So let's see what we have here. Ta. Ka. Taka. And then we have a sukun. So we read them together. The thu plus the r. Thur. Thur. So that is takathur. Like the surah in the Quran. Alhaakumut takathur. Takathur. That is the word. Okay. Ki. The yamad. Ki. Ki. Here we go. We have a sukun. So we're going to read them as one unit. The ta plus the sh. The letter we done in the last lesson. Tash. 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 Ta. Tash. Ta. And then ki. Tash. Ta ki. That means to complain. Okay. Ku. Ku. So here we have, let's see in this word, sha. That's the letter we done last week. Sha. Ku. Shakuru. Shakuru. Okay. I'm sure everyone's doing great so far. Challenging letters. Here we go. The very important concept that needs a bit of focus. Here we go. So the first letter there is the the. So be careful. It's not the si, it's the. Like in that. The plus the ka for the sukun as one syllable. Dik. 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 And don't forget the sound at the end. Dik. Okay. Let's see here we have dik. Dik. Ra. Dik. Ra. Dik. Ra. That means a reminder as well. Rik. Here we have a ri plus the k as one unit. Rik. 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 You see, here we have tush. Tush. Tu plus the sh. Shin with the sukun. Tush. Rik. Tush. Rik. Tush. Rik. Okay. Here we have the book. So we have a bu plus the ka for the sukun is a k sound. So bu plus the k is book. 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 Let's see in a word we have here book. Ra. Book. Ra. Then ta. Book. Ra ta. Book. Ra ta. Right. That's the Kaaf. So the fa and the Kaaf, very simple, very easy. Alhamdulillah. Now we're moving on to the letter Qaaf. Here we go. So the letter Qaaf is now a bit of a special letter in that it doesn't have an English equivalent. Okay. So we know we're familiar with the shape. We said it looks like a fa, just with a bigger jaw, and it has two dots instead of one. Right? And you can see by the name, it's a Q, but I changed the shape of the Q because it's not exactly like a Q, because a Q in English is similar to the K, right? So this one is Qaaf, Qaaf, okay? Now, this is the principle I want you to remember from this letter, for this letter. Just remember the soft palate, from the soft palate. Now, before we practice this letter, we're going to practice it with a fatha. And I must say that the Qaaf, you see highlighted in blue, because look there, So it's one of the full letters, right? Like Ra and Kha, Da, Sa, the letters we've done so far, with the R sound, like the Ra, rock, Ra, Sa, Da, and Qa. So Qa is another one of those letters. And Qa is special because they have other features as well. Firstly, is there anyone struggling with the letter Qaaf? Besides those who are learning this letter for the first time? Anyone struggling with it or been struggling with the letter Qaaf? Do let us know. Struggling with the letter Qaaf. Okay, so we have one person so far struggling with the letter Qaaf. That's good. It's a bit challenging. Okay. 2 people. Let's see if there's a third. We want at least 3. It doesn't always sound the same here as well. Okay, 4. Excellent, perfect. Okay. Okay. All right. So the letter Qaf, what you need to remember about the letter Qaf and the difference between the letter Qaf and the letter Kaaf. The letter Kaaf is easy because it's like the K, right? So now a bit of background. The Kaaf sound, right? Where is it coming from, right? So it's coming from the tongue. So the 2 parts that play in this letter. The tongue, and more the back portion of the tongue, right? So not the front, not the tip, more of the back, from the half a little to the back, and the top palate. So the roof of your mouth. That's the foundation that we need to understand. So ka, so just say ka and just confirm that. Ka, 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 ka. You'll feel that it's the tip of your tongue is not moving. It's more the back portion. It's touching the palate above it. Now, what's the difference between the letter Kaaf and the letter Qaaf? Now, the tongue mechanism of the Kaaf and the Qaaf is almost exactly the same. The 2 differences between the Kaaf and the Qaaf, number 1, the Qaaf, you're going to use the portion of your tongue further to the back than the Kaaf. That's number 1. A portion of your tongue further to the back, right? So instead of ka, 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 that's more, it's the back of the tongue, qa, qa, qa. So further back portion of your tongue. That's number 1. Remember that. Now, number 2, we want to do a little exercise. I want you to feel the roof of your mouth. How? Take the tip of your tongue, right? And I want you to roll it on the roof of your mouth, on the top palate, right? Roll it like this. And feel, right? So as you're rolling, you're going to feel your gums, right? You're going to feel a hard bone, right? This is your gum bone, right? You're going to feel like a ball, right? When you feel that, right, I want you to go to the back and I want you to feel the soft palate. So yes, the answer is yes, Muhammad Ashrafi. Yes. But do this exercise, then I'll get actually to show you your question in a practical way. So roll the tongue on the top of your roof, right? And feel the hard palate and feel that there's a soft palate at the back, right? So can everyone feel that soft palate? So you have to confirm with me if you're feeling that soft palate. There's a hard palate, you move to the back, then there's a soft palate. Right, that soft palate. Can you feel that soft palate? That's very, very important. Extremely important. Right? 2 steps with this letter. Number 1, we said with the tongue, you're going to use a portion further to the back than the Kaaf. Number 2, the Kaaf is pronounced when the tongue touches the hard palate. The Qaaf is pronounced when the tongue, and we didn't know what portion of the tongue, back portion, touches the Qaaf, touches the soft palate. If your tongue touches the hard palate, a Kaaf is going to come out. Then you need to focus on using a further back portion of your tongue and using the soft palate. And you're going to get the letter Qaaf. So look here. If I say ka, 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 okay. Now let me say it in the sound of the Qaaf, right? So ka, 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 ka. So that is using the position of Kaaf. Now I'm going to move further to the back to the soft palate. So watch. I'm going to start off with the hard palate and move back. Ka, 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 ka. back portion of your tongue, further back, touching the soft palate, right? So do another exercise. Ka, 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 ko, ko, ko. So what you can do is also, if you're still struggling to find it, then what you do is move gradually. So start from the calf and start moving your tongue further to the back. Start using the use of your tongue further to the back. Right? So ka, 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 further to the back until you go to the soft, until you are away from the hard palate and you are fully by the soft palate. You should have a cough. So now, so I want Muhammad Ashraf, you asked a very important question. I'm going to get to that. So just remind me as well. Yes. So it's when you're using the back portion of your tongue close to your throat when you pronounce it. Yes. Right. So it's the back portion of your tongue close to your throat. That's correct. But to be very specific, I'm saying you find the curve, you want to be take a step to the back. Right. And that portion of your tongue, you take one step to the back, like a bit of a step, that portion of your tongue in the soft palate. Right? Ko, ko, and then you just add the o sound. Ko, ko. So from ko, 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 moving my tongue all to the back. Okay. Who got it? Who found the cough? Right? I'm sure most of you had some sort of cough. You just needed to use a further back portion of your tongue. Okay. Got it. Now that you got it, and even if you didn't get it perfectly, you certainly should know what to do. Now you need to practice, because if you're not used to using that portion of your tongue to pronounce words, to pronounce letters in speaking every day, like English, it kind of stopped by the Q, right? In terms of using your tongue, the Q is like kind of the furthest to the back it goes. So the cough is a big adjustment. Using a portion of your tongue to pronounce that you never used before. So it's going to feel awkward. It might feel a bit strenuous, might feel a bit like you're going to kind of like maybe vomit if you practice it too much. That's all natural, because you are using a portion that you normally use much. So the answer to that is practice, right? And practice will make perfect, as long as you remember the two principles. Right? There's many things. Remember, there are many things we can speak about letters. There are always many things. But like I always said, you always want to be able to differentiate between what are the basics and what are the secondary sort of information that we can add on. Now, if you cannot differentiate between them, then you are going to struggle for a long time until you get it. Right? So the Qaaf, primary difference between the Qaaf and the Kaaf, portion of the tongue further to the back, in the soft palate, nowhere near the hard palate. Once you approach the hard palate, you're going to get a soft palate, right? And you'll feel like it's in the throat, but it's not really in the throat. The focus is back portion of the tongue, far to the back, and the soft palate. You can't go wrong with that. Okay, now I want to get to what to one question about the Kaaf is more open mouth and the Qaaf is more rounded. So yes, so that is where we're coming to the fullness. So the Qaaf is one of the full letters. The Kaaf is not. The Kaaf is on the ah. The Qaaf has the ah sound. So besides using the back portion of the tongue and touching the soft palate, that is the primary point of pronunciation. The fullness and the round sound, the ah sound, that is a quality that is added to the letter, right? Then the letter is complete. Primary, point of pronunciation. Back of the tongue, soft palate. Kaaf, also back, hard palate. Okay? And then the Qaaf has the rounded sound, ah, ka, ka. And then there's another question. Yes, so what Miller spoke about, the part of your tongue closest to your throat, that is also correct. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so now let's practice, right? So the practice is where we're really going to feel the difference. Okay. Qa. Qa for the fatha. Qa. Qa. Back with the tongue, soft palate. Qa. Okay. So now here we go. I again brought the ba. The ba, we said the ba with the sukoon has a jerk sound. So ba. So ba, like biscuit. Okay. So with the qaf, qa and ba, qaba. Qaba, qaba, and then ri. Qabri, qabri. So that means grave. Qabri. Perfect. I want to use another example here with the Qaaf of the Fatha. Here we go. So here we have a dal. The dal is also has a jerk sound, the, like dusk, right? The plus the qa before it because it's sukoon, 1 unit. Qad, qad, qad. And then we have ra. Together, qadra, qadra. So I hope everyone is seeing the importance of the full sound that we spoke about in the full letters, right? That are made in dark blue. Can we see how much it comes up every time? And you have to know when to say or, when to say when to open your mouth, and when to round it a bit, right? So it's very important if you want to read with tajweed, because the letters are always going to be interchanging between the sound and the r sound. Okay. Qi. So Qaaf for the kasra is going to be qi, qi. Now again, the most important, now you see there's no round sound, right? It's just qi. But the important, the primary, the foundation of this letter pronunciation is the soft palate. Soft palate, back portion of the tongue, right? Soft palate. But I want to focus on the soft palate because whether you're pronouncing kaf or qaf, you're going to use the back portion of the tongue. But it's the soft palate that you need to focus on, that you are away from the hard palate. Ti, right? Ti, ti. So that might be a challenging letter. Be careful not to say qi, 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 right? Just keep your mouth natural. Qi, and don't say qi. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. Qi, da, da, qi, da, qi, da. Beautiful. Okay. Qaaf the dhamma. Qu, qu. So, okay, again, you might struggle here. You have to, again, remember I said soft palate. So you might be sounding a bit like ku, 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 ku. It means that you are still pressing against the hard palate. Ku, ku. That hard palate that we felt. So you need to focus and try to bring the tongue back a bit to the back. Ku, 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 ku. And just focus on touching the soft palate, and the sound of the Qaaf will come out. Okay, here we go. Qu, with the ra sukoon, the r, qur, 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 ba. So that's qur, ba. Here we go. So the mad is actually easier. So here I have qa, qa, soft palate. Qa, qa, back portion of your tongue, closest to your throat. Qa, qa. In a word, here we go. We have fa, sa. So it's fa, sa, qa, fa, sa, qa. Beautiful. Here we have qi, qi, e plus qi. And then in a word, we have here fa, qi, faqi, ra. So that is faqira. That's a poor person. Okay. Ooh. Again, so this might be a bit challenging as well. With practice, it will get easier. Ooh. So if you're still saying ku, ku, it's fine. Know that you are touching the hard palate. Slowly work on focusing on using the further back portion of your tongue against the soft palate. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And with practice, it will become easier. Okay. Ooh. Here we go. So that's dhu, qu, dhu, qu, dhu, qu. I'm aware that some still might be struggling, still having a bit of a cool sound, right? So like I said, I emphasize, you just need to practice and focus on using the further back portion of your tongue and touching the soft palate. Okay, with the sukoon, now this is where it also becomes interesting, right? And Because if you take this example over here, right? So we have to say the Qaaf with the sukoon is going to be taq, right? That's how it, in theory, it would be pronounced, right? So if we say taq, and where I'm putting my tongue is like when you say qa, right? So we, without the you just stop there before you say taq, qa. So that way, that position is you need to put your tongue there when you say the sukoon. So taq, but you will hear now that you can't hear the letter taq, taq, taq. So this letter has a jerking sound when it has a sukoon. This letter has a jerking sound because if you don't add a jerk, it's going to be tuck, tuck, complete blockage. It's going to be very tough to say. And also the letter is not sounded, so you're not sure which letter I'm saying. Tuck. So it has a bounce and it will sound like this. Taqo, qa. So it's a qa, qa, qa. And so be sure not to also say qa and not qi. It's qa, qa, like a qa, qa. So same like b, d, qa, qa, right? So, and if you're struggling to get that sound, I know maybe some people might be struggle to get that sound. So what you can do is you can just say naturally, tuck, hold it there, just release your tongue, right? Don't blow air. So just tuck, qa, tuck, qa. You'll see that when you drop your tongue, yes, when you drop your tongue, there's a sound will come out, right? Tuck, qa, tuck, qa. So that sound is also good, right? So that could also be a Qaaf with a sukoon. So taqa, taqa. So the Qaaf is indeed the Qaaf, and there's one more letter that has a jerking sound that's coming. One more letter, and that letter is the kind of the same mechanism as this in terms of the jerking sound is a bit more challenging than the others, right? Than the ba, dal, and jim. That's why I done them first on their own. The Qaaf is going to need a bit of practice. But luckily, that is why this is this is the last letter we're doing. I only done 3 letters this time around, and so you have time to focus the whole lot of few days coming on the Qaaf, even if you don't get it perfect. But indeed, it is difficult to get. So if you at least get somewhere, that's good. Work on it. Okay. So tuck. If you say tuck, you'll be completely blocking the sound. Just find a way to release some sound, like to tap the point of pronunciation, right? When your tongue touches that soft palate, try to let it touch and just bounce off there, right? Release a bit as you hit it, right? Taco, 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 right? So you just have to practice that. Taco. So let's see in a word. Let's try to say it in a word. Here we go. So we have a ta plus the Qaaf, right? So if you going to read it as according to without the jerking sound, it's going to sound like this. Tak, ra, tak, ra. Now that's obviously also, it's very challenging to say tak, ra. It's a complete blockage. Your lungs will feel it, right? So ta, qa, ta, qa, ta, qa, ta, qa, 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 ta, qa, ra. تقرأ 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 تقرب تقرب. And like I said, and we're going to say this again, the Qaaf, the main thing about the Qaaf is the soft palate. So if you are not pronouncing the Qaaf from the soft palate, right, you won't be able to do the jerking sound correctly, right? It's going to be the incorrect jerking sound. So first thing, focus on getting the pronunciation right. And then after that, you'll see this might come naturally, right? So it's just instead of not qi, just taqarabu, taqarabu. Okay. Did anyone finding the jerking sound in the Qaaf? Can anyone pronounce it? Are you feeling that you kind of got it? You're getting somewhere. Do let us know if you feel like you kind of got it, right? Okay. Okay. Need practice. Kind of my throat is feeling dry. Yes, it will feel dry. I'm sorry about that. And we're going to end soon. This is literally the last page, right? And I knew that this letter is going to be a bit of challenging, but I promise you, if you practice every day, you should be good. Let's do another word. Here we go. Ri plus the qa, ri, qa, riqa, riqa, riqa. Find the soft palate and just release riqa instead of riq, riqa, qa, riqa, qa, 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 qa. So a good way you can practice like that also. You can, once you find the soft palate, the qa, then you just say qa, 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 like a sound, qa, qa, qa. Then you just plug it in the word riqa, riqa, right? Let's see. Sa, ri. And then the qaf of the sukoon, so that is 1 minute. Riqa, sa, riqa, sariqa. So that means thief. Sariqa, qa, qa, qa. First, I have to find the soft palate and then add the qa sound when it has a sukoon. Sariqa. Okay. Final word, we have tuqa, tuqa, tuqa. So again, qa, 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 qa. Instead of tuk, tuk, tuqa, qa, qa. Right? Here we go. Tuqa. Instead of tuk, tuqa. Da. We done the dot. Da. Da. Remember to forget the spoon-shaped tongue. Da. So tuqa da. Tuqa da. Tuqa da. And with that, we conclude the 3 letters fa, kaf, and qaf.